Hey, welcome back to another Black City coffee vlog. In this video, I wanted to talk about what it means to be a woman roaster, if anything. Alright, so I was asked this question a couple times, and I've been pondering it for a long time too, and it vexed me because I didn't have a good answer. On this coffee break series, I wanted to share my now kind of like ironed out thoughts about that. All right, so what does it mean to be a woman coffee roaster? For me, nothing. Not that it doesn't have any weight, and I'll get into that. But for me personally, it doesn't change how I feel about roasting. I'm just gonna do what I do whatever feels good. And I live by that rule, which is from Adrian Mishler from my faraway YouTube yogi. Do whatever feels good. So for me, I'm gonna go through my coffee journey the way I want to go through it, the way that I choose. I've done that ever since the beginning, and it's not as easy as it sounds because it is really hard sometimes if you are the type of person who easily takes on influences of others, and I certainly am. I'm naturally a follower versus a leader, even though I do and now am and sort of accepting that I have leadership qualities. But naturally, I would say in my heart of hearts that I'm a follower naturally. So for me, when I first started coffee roasting, I certainly had an issue. You know, I really didn't know how to have my own voice with coffee, or even that, if that was even a thing. I was just like, please somebody teach me. I was reading everything, and most of what was out there and the content that I was finding and consuming was by men, which to me, honestly, I didn't have any problem with that. I was just like, this is what's here, like this is what it is. I did not think twice about me being a woman, or that deterring me in any way. I was really kind of used to it. Growing up, I'm the type of child that had G.I. Joes and Barbies. It didn't matter to me, okay? So I had action figures, I had Batmans, I had Spider-Mans, I had X-Men, I had all that stuff, and I had Barbies too. And I was really into fashion, and I was making clothes, and I was doing that thing. So to me, I'm very much on both ends of the spectrum of femininity and masculinity, and a lot of times I do prefer, or maybe not that I prefer, but maybe because we have a sort of like masculine forward society here in America, like things are just, I think they're always like made better, and I would just be more attracted to more masculine things. And I think that's just my personality too. And anything that was sort of like geared towards the female perspective was pink. And I'm like, I don't have a problem with pink now. I kind of love pink now. But when I was a child, I was like, dude, does everything have to be pink? But now that I've had time to really sit with this question and really kind of think about what it means to have representation, and if I look at all of the, like, I just watched like Raya and the Last Dragon, right? So like finally we start seeing some sort of like Asian representation in Disney films, which everything that I've seen growing up is a white female, whatever. It didn't bother me. It really didn't bother me. But now seeing that, and I think what it would mean for a young child to see that, for a young girl who's a minority, or for myself, like if I was Asian and I saw myself being represented on the screen, I think that might make me feel a certain way. Maybe it might make me feel more confident, or that there was nothing different about me. If I were to really think about it, when I got the question, what are you? When I was a child, which it didn't bother me. I was just like, well, and I would go ask my dad, what am I? And he's like, well, we're Filipino, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, it means we're from the Philippines, and that's in Asia. And I was like, all right, but we're here. I didn't know what it meant when I was young, honestly. It was just like, oh, when people now say, what are you Chinese? Which is like, hands down, all the time, that's what I would get. Are you Chinese? It's like the only Asian, ethnicity people knew. I'd be like, no, I'm Filipino. So for one thing, it gave me an answer to answer back. But honestly, it didn't really change how I felt. I think if anything, it just made me feel that I was different. It made me feel like, and this is not to be like a boohoo, victimizing, whatever. It just made me go, oh, I guess I'm not like you. That's really all it meant for me, and it just felt very shallow. And maybe in some way, if we go really deep with it, maybe if I'm not like you, then I'm not safe to share who I am. So if we really dive deep into the psyche of things and what it means for representation, maybe that's what it is. You know, that one little thing that happened to me in my experience, my life. So I do now understand how important it can be to have representation. You know, for maybe a young Asian female who wanted to get into roasting, and maybe they see my content and they see a Filipino girl roasting coffee, and it looks more industrial, it looks more heavy duty, and maybe it doesn't scare her as much anymore. Right? Like I feel like if I saw another woman like me at that time when I was thinking about buying a roaster, I think it would have given me more confidence. I don't know about you. If you've ever had the experience of you wanting to do something, but maybe your friends and family don't support it, it's really nice to have a model or somebody online or somebody to point to and say, hey, this person's kind of like me, and they're doing it. I think I should be okay. See, like, it's all right. So it's a good way to help bridge the gap for people to understand certain concepts. And I mean, thankfully at the time when I was wanting to upgrade and everything like that, I was really just looking for setups because I had no experience with ducting, venting, this heavy machinery. There's fire coming out of the thing. And I'm like, I'm down. Like, I'm down to do all that stuff. I make stuff, you know, I'm a very handy person, but I just had no experience with that. So if I saw another woman who was just doing all the things and showing everything online and being really like transparent with it, or even just encouraging, then I think I would feel a lot better about stuff. You know, I'd feel like I could take steps a little bit better. So while for me being a woman roaster doesn't affect me personally, I now see how much it can mean to others who are just looking for that validation, maybe looking for a permission. And I think that in itself is where the power of being a woman in roasting lies. It doesn't change how I feel about roasting. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make what I'm going to make, and I'm going to show it the way I'm going to show it, whatever, based on how I feel, honestly. Me being a woman is a bonus. That's a bonus, you know? And the fact that I think that I show a lot of my process, I think is a really big bonus. And that I'm comfortable to be on camera. I think that maybe there are a lot of women who do roast, but honestly, the big forefront runners, I don't see them, I don't hear about them, and I wouldn't say I'm like super deep in the coffee world, but I'm kind of knowledgeable. It is tough to find women who are a little bit more like, I guess, comfortable on camera. And if you know anybody, like, please, like, shout them out in the comments. While it's not my purpose, it wasn't originally my purpose to be like a woman roaster and, you know, wear that badge. I think that's just a bonus. Doesn't change how I feel about it personally, but I do now understand that's what it means to be a woman roaster now in 2021. Maybe in 2025 or whatever it may be, sometime in the future, is not going to be a big deal. And that's what I would love. It's like, it's not a big deal. There's all kinds of people who roast. And cool. We're all doing what we love to do. And that would be my goal. But for the time being, I understand the weight of that. And now I'm seeing how important it is in other venues for people to see themselves represented. And yeah, I think that was kind of a big lesson for me. I didn't really care about it much before. I'm like, what does it really mean? And maybe that's because, I don't know, maybe I'm more compassionate now. Like I have been changing. And before I wasn't as compassionate or empathetic to the experience outside of myself. But I don't know, we're human. We're going to be very self-involved. That's who we are. We're self-involved creatures. You know, we should forgive ourselves for that. And if we can level up in how we perceive ourselves and how we present ourselves in the world, I think that's a big, big win. So there you go. There's my answer. Her name was Connie. She asked me that question. Thank you for making my wheels turn. Thank you for making me dive deep and really try to understand, myself in this equation of what it means to be a woman in roasting. And I didn't mean for it to be like a rant, but I think this is fun and important and cool when you can discover some new layer about yourself. Funny enough, coffee always does that for me. It always helps me understand another layer to myself. That's what makes coffee really special. Other than being delicious and helping you get through the day and sharing it with other people, I really do believe that it's so soul enriching to be in the presence of good coffee, specialty coffee, and to be in the presence of you guys, helping me and documenting and even watching this process and learning with me. That's what it means for me to be a woman in roasting. If you're a woman in roasting, let me know your experience in the comments. I would love to hear it. I need to surround myself with more perspectives, and I would love to see how this evolves and changes in the future. See ya.